There are a lot of different ways you can compost and have it benefit your garden. What you just saw me doing was two of the main ways that I compost. I do bokashi composting and also vermicomposting or worm composting. So I would say about 90% of my food scraps go into the bokashi setup. Bokashi, if you haven't heard of it, it's like a fermentation of your compost scraps in a way that sort of pre-breaks it down so that when you add it to a compost pile or directly to your garden, it breaks down really, really fast. And it can also break down a lot of things that wouldn't go in like traditional compost. So like your, pre-cooked foods, your oils and fats and things like that, meat. I even put bones in mine. All of it does break down. Now I will say the bones do take a while, but regardless, they do eventually break down. Bokashi is also quite a fast process. If you do everything exactly on time, you can go from food scraps to just, great compost dirt within a month. It takes a pre-fermentation period, and then once you add it to the soil, all the soil microbes come in and break it down, and it is incredibly quick. What I've learned is how fast or slow it is really depends on how willing you are to cut stuff up into smaller pieces. I personally do not have time for that. So if there's a big chunk of something, it's going to stay a big chunk, and I'm just going to commit to letting it take longer to break down. If you do want to hear me talk about bokashi more in depth, I've got a couple of videos up here that I've made explaining the whole process. So if bokashi is so good at composting stuff, then why do I bother with worm composting? Well, there's a couple of different reasons for that. Number one, the worms that I keep indoors, those are specifically making vermicompost that I use for my seed starting. It's a really fine, very nutritious thing to add into your seed starting mix to help your seeds have a lot of that nutrition while also not being big and chunky and like impeding the germination of really small seeds. I also used my indoor bin to kind of breed more worms so that I can have worm composting outdoors in my raised beds. And this is still like in its trial period with me. I'm still experimenting with it, but my idea, and this is not my idea. This is what I've heard from other people, and I'm trying it. The idea is that you have a bucket with a bunch of holes in it submerged in the ground, and you put your food scraps in the bucket, and the worms come and eat out of the bucket, and then they leave the bucket and they go leave their castings out in the ground. And so you are continuously fertilizing that area without having to do a bunch of digging or haul a bunch of compost in there on top. I've been especially interested in this method for my berry patch, where I have a bunch of strawberries on the ground, and I don't want to be digging up the strawberries to bury any compost, and I also don't want to be smothering the strawberries by putting compost along the top, and I definitely do not have time for the tedium of like slowly getting little bits of compost underneath every single little strawberry. So I'm hoping that the worms are out there kind of doing the work for me. And as far as worm composting goes, I do also have another video up here. This is where my friend Danica showed me how to set up my worm bin in the first place. But one of the important things to note is that I do freeze all the scraps that I give to the indoor worms. And you also saw I have that cardboard cover over the top of it, which keeps in their moisture, but also makes it harder for gnats to get in there and make that their little home. I definitely had a problem with gnats when I first started. And if you freeze the stuff that you're giving your worms, you kill all the gnat eggs. And if you use the cover, you're also making it much harder for them to even find that source of food in the first place. It is actually so warm out today. I am totally comfortable out here. The sun is warm. It's a little breezy, but even the breeze is warm. It feels like spring. And so I thought this would be a really good time to kind of come out here and have a chat with you guys about this. Since this is going to be on me for a while, I just wanted to address it and make sure that none of you are really worried about me. All it is a heart monitor. It's, just a couple of stickers, and it is going to be monitoring my heart rhythm for the next 30 days or so. Basically, I've just been having some kind of unusual heart rhythms, and in general, like having an unusual heart rhythm from time to time is totally normal. It just started happening a little more often for me than I was comfortable with, so I went and talked to a doctor, and he's like, yeah, we can definitely monitor that for you, and it's probably benign, but it'll be really nice to have the data to back that up and just be sure about it, so that every time it happens, I don't have to keep worrying about it. And honestly, that's all there really is to it. I can let you guys know how it goes, what the cardiologist says, but I won't be seeing them until like mid-March, so it'll kind of be a while. But since this is something that's just going to be kind of present, I thought I would get ahead of all of the questions. So today I'm drinking some of the last hibiscus holy basil tea that I made in September, I think the label said. It's just been sitting in a bottle in the fridge. It's still totally good. This drink really tastes like summer to me because this is what I'm making all summer long with my fresh holy basil. And then the hibiscus gives it this lovely, lovely red color. And then sometimes I'll add blue butterfly peas and it'll turn this like really deep purple color. Oh, so pretty. Weather like this makes me want to spend just the whole day outside, especially on a day in January. Like, incredible. I've been missing the warmth and the sun so much. So these are my brand new seed starting trays. These are another product that I was sent to review. They are from Auxhart Gardening, which is the metal raised bed company. And these are feeling pretty solid, I'm not gonna lie. My intention is to compare them to the trays that I already have, which are Bootstrap Farmer. And these already feel like these could last many, many years. Of course, Kata has to get in the box. Oh my god, y'all see this? She is going to flip herself off this table. Kata, darling. Oh my god, you're making me nervous. There it goes. You okay? She's fine. Where was I? Oh yeah. So I'm thinking, I wish this would like clip on more sturdily right now, but other than that, it seems pretty good. I've actually never used humidity domes with my seed starting setup before. I live in South Carolina, which is one of the most humid places in the United States. Our average humidity is like 70 or 80%. Obviously, it's less humid in my house, but it's still pretty humid, I would say, especially in the summer when I'm only running AC and not the heat. the heat is definitely way more dehydrating than the AC. Interestingly, and something I've never seen before, is that the insides of these are actually pretty rough. I've never had a seedling tray that actually had texture on the inside here. There is a like rougher plastic section, but also some little grooves. I wonder if that is supposed to help the plugs come out more solidly, although I'm not entirely sure how that would work. I'll be sure to put out a full review of these trays as I'm doing seed starting, because actually using them and interacting with them in that way I think is going to give me the best like overall view of how they're going to do. So yeah, watch out for that video, but I just had to share this with you guys because I couldn't wait any longer to open these boxes.